Managing a single variable is straightforward. Managing a collection of hundreds or thousands of data points requires a structured system. Whether you are storing a basic shopping list or a complex multidimensional grid, you need to know how to organize that data. We are going to write code to modify Python lists, build a two-dimensional temperature tracker, and analyze the memory constraints that determine when to use the specialized array module instead of a standard list. To follow along, you just need Python installed and a code editor or IDE open. These core structures provide the foundation for scaling your applications beyond simple scripts and into real-world software engineering. In Python, you create a standard list using square brackets. These lists are versatile, allowing you to store mixed data types, like strings, integers, and floats, simultaneously in the same collection. Python uses zero-based indexing. This means the numerical location of the very first element in your list is 0, not 1. Python stores list data in contiguous memory, mapped sequentially to numbered positions below. Because it's contiguous, retrieval is instant. When you target index 0, Python finds the corresponding data block immediately. This is an O of 1 operation. This combination of flexibility with mixed data types and instant retrieval speed makes standard lists the default choice for everyday data storage. You can modify lists after they are created. To add an item to an existing list, the append method drops the new item at the very end of the collection. However, there is a performance cost associated with placing an item at the beginning of a list. For that, you would use the insert method at index 0. Compare these two methods. The appended item snaps into the empty space at the end, but inserting at the front forces every subsequent element to shift one space to the right to make room. This takes O of n time. Removing data follows a very similar logic. You can use the remove method to delete a specific value by name, or use the pop method to extract an item using its exact index location. To organize your data, you can call the sort method for ascending order. If you need it in descending order, pass reverse equals true inside the parentheses. Optimizing your code requires accounting for these underlying memory shifts, ensuring you select methods that maintain performance as your data scales. Flat lists work well for single sequences, but tracking tabular data, like logging temperatures across different days and times, requires more dimensions. You can build a 2D array by nesting standard lists within a parent list. In this structure, each inner list represents a distinct row of data. Retrieving a specific data point from a 2D list requires dual index syntax. The first bracket targets the row, and the second bracket targets the column within that row. This grid maps the logic of the code. If you write temperatures 0, 1, Python locates row 0, then scans to column 1, isolating the specific temperature recorded for that time. Nested lists allow Python to represent and manipulate complex structures like matrices, spreadsheets, and coordinate grids. When lists become too large, you can use the array module from the Python standard library as a specialized alternative. Standard lists have significant memory overhead because Python must track object information for every element. This becomes a bottleneck when you are storing millions of numerical data points. The array module optimizes memory by enforcing strict typing, meaning it only holds a single numeric data type. This constraint allows Python to heavily compress the memory footprint of the collection. Use this comparison to choose the right tool. Standard lists are suited for general tasks and mixed data. The array module is more efficient for large-scale numeric workloads where memory usage is a priority. Architectural decisions in software engineering rely on identifying when a project's scale requires moving from the flexibility of lists to the efficiency of strict memory management. You've successfully built a functional 2D data tracker and applied optimized methods to manipulate its contents. Remember the fundamental mechanics. Python lists use zero-based indexing. Certain operations like insert 0 cause memory shifts, and the array module provides a memory-efficient alternative for large numeric datasets. To further apply these skills, expand your temperature tracker to calculate the average temperature across the entire week. Software engineering requires matching data structures to the specific memory and performance constraints of your application.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're demystifying the absolute workhorse in Python, the list. We're going to uncover exactly how it works, from its basic syntax all the way to its powerful memory and performance trade-offs. Look, whether you're writing your very first script or you're out there architecting a massive data pipeline, understanding how Python handles lists behind the scenes is absolutely crucial for writing efficient code. So let's dive right in by asking a critical question, one that pretty much every programmer faces eventually. Imagine you've got a massive, totally chaotic dataset. We're talking a million data points, and it's a messy mix of text strings, raw integers, floating point numbers, the whole shebang. How do you actually store all of that efficiently so your application doesn't just completely freeze up? Well, today, we're going to see exactly how Python tackles that problem. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by meeting the Python list, then cover essential list operations. After that, we'll dive into nested lists and 2D data, explore some important list performance trade-offs, and finally compare standard Python lists to arrays. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Meet the Python list, the foundation of ordered data. Think of a Python list like a traditional array, but, with a superpower. It allows strings, integers, and totally different data types to all live in the exact same house without complaining. Now, we call it mutable, which simply means you can dynamically change it on the fly. You can add things, remove things, or alter existing items whenever you want. And because it stores these items in contiguous memory locations, they stay in the exact order you put them in. This crazy flexibility is exactly why the list is the go-to default data structure for most Python developers. Now, if you're newer to Python, you need to remember that index-based retrieval is foundational here, meaning 0 is your new best friend. Your very first element in any list is always sitting at index 0. So if you create a list of dog names, that first dog isn't at position 1, it's at position 0. And because the data is stored in that continuous block of memory we just talked about, grabbing an item by its index number gives you lightning-fast retrieval times, no matter how gigantic the list gets. Moving right along to Section 2, Essential List Operations. Basically, your everyday array manipulation tasks. Consider this your rapid-fire cheat sheet of the commands that make lists so incredibly useful. Want to drop a new value at the very end of your data? Just use append. Need it shoved into a specific spot? Insert lets you pick the exact index location. Now, when it's time to delete something, you've got options. Remove will search for a specific value and wipe out the first occurrence of it. But pop is really cool because it grabs the item at a specific index, removes it, and actually returns it back to you so you can store it in a variable. Oh, and calling .sort instantly organizes your data in ascending order. But hey, quick heads up here. While calling .sort is super easy, it alters your list permanently, right in place. Actually, a lot of the time, your business logic dictates that you absolutely cannot mutate the original source data. So what do? You use the built-in sorted function instead. By passing your list into sorted, Python hands you back a brand new, perfectly ordered list, leaving your original, messy sequence completely untouched and safe. All right, on to Section 3, Nested Lists and 2D Data. Time to talk about managing tabular structures. Once you master the single list, it's time to level up. Imagine you're tracking data over time. By placing lists inside of other lists, you naturally create a 2D array. It's basically a spreadsheet. Each inner list acts as a distinct row, and the items inside those become your columns. You just chain your index numbers together to navigate. The first index picks the row, the second picks the column. It's really that simple. To put that into perspective, check out this temperature tracking scenario. You can visually see how a nested list neatly organizes morning to evening data. Take a look at day 1, early morning. The temperature is 52 degrees. In Python, that data point lives at row 0, column 0. Now look at day 2, afternoon, sitting there at 62 degrees. That would be row 1, column 2. This simple nested structure lets you build out surprisingly complex data models without needing any fancy external libraries. Now for the really fun part. Section 4, List Performance Trade-offs. Let's navigate some time complexity. Okay. We need to talk about the elephant in the room. While lists are incredibly versatile, they can severely drag down your application's speed if you don't know what's happening under the hood. Behind the scenes, Python lists are dynamic arrays. Because they store elements in contiguous blocks of memory, any operation that forces those elements to physically shift positions can create massive performance bottlenecks, especially when your dataset scales up into the millions. Take a look at this stark contrast in performance, viewed through the lens of big O notation. Notice how grabbing an item by its index, or appending something to the very end, is O of 1. That's constant time, meaning it happens practically instantly, whether your list has 10 items or 10 million. But look at inserting at index 0 or popping a middle element. Those are O of n, or linear time. That means the operation gets slower and slower the bigger your list gets.
So, what does this all mean for you? It means that modifying the middle of a massive list creates a cascading memory traffic jam. Think about it. If you have a list of 1,000,000 items and you remove the very first one, Python has to individually shift the remaining 999,999 items one slot to the left just to fill the gap. No way around it. If you're doing this repeatedly inside a loop, your program is going to slow down to an absolute crawl.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, Python lists versus arrays, and making the right business logic choice. To solve those massive scaling issues we just talked about, Python gives us a choice between the default list and the standard library's array module. When you're architecting your code, choosing between these two really comes down to a tug of war between flexibility and memory efficiency. So let's break down the core strengths of each so you know exactly when to reach for one over the other.
The standard list? It's literally your Swiss Army knife. It's perfect for everyday tasks because it gracefully handles mixed data types and dynamic resizing without making you strictly define things up front. If you're scraping a website and you need to dump names, dates, and prices into a single collection, the standard list handles it without breaking a sweat. It totally doesn't care that a text string is sitting right next to a floating point number. For about 90% of general programming, this is exactly what you want.
On the flip side, we have the array module. This guy enforces strict memory limits by demanding a single numeric data type. It is the ultimate weapon for memory-sensitive numeric workloads, whereas standard list would just buckle under the weight. If you're building a tool that processes raw binary audio data, or you're doing massive numeric computations, standard lists carry way too much memory overhead because they have to be prepared for mixed types. The array module strips all that extra baggage away, storing pure, contiguous numbers incredibly efficiently. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this defining architectural question to ponder before you write your next line of code. Do you need the dynamic, mixed-type flexibility of standard Python lists, or are you going to need the strict, hyper-efficient performance of the array module? By understanding these underlying mechanics, how Python manages memory, shifting items, and index-based retrieval, you're now fully equipped to make the absolute best choice for your data. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep building, keep optimizing, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.